So my buddy Alex over at Beyond the Void Horror Podcast was really, really big on a film. And let me tell you, when he is big on a film, I always pay attention because to me, he's somebody who is always kind of blah or like middle of the road on most films. Even films that we've talked about that he's like, oh, it was great, this and that. And he's like, 7 out of 10. I'm like, what? How? You just said so many amazing things about it. So he seems to be very hard to impress. So when something comes out that blows him away and he's so excited about, I have to pay attention. Even if we disagree a decent amount, I just, have to. So he said Making Monsters. It really connected with him. So I rented this off of Amazon. And my girlfriend and I, we watched this. And I definitely was not as enthusiastic about it as him. And honestly, I was going to do this for Monster Monday. It's Making Monsters. Monsters is in the title. I didn't even know if there was monsters in it. So I was like, well, it has monsters in the title. So even if there isn't, I'm still going to count it for Monster Monday. But after having watched it, I didn't want to have the same thing happen that happened with Bone Hill Road. Bone Hill Road? That's what it was, right? Bone Hill Road? Yeah. I reviewed that movie a couple years ago, and I was doing it for a Monster Monday. I really didn't like the movie at all, and I smashed the fucking shit out of it because it's a full spoiler discussion, and I had to have something to talk about. So I really just, kind of went in on it, and that, the actors and director and people all saw the thing, and one of the actors was fucking furious with me. Holy hell. Started attacking me left, right, and center. So with this one, I was like, you know what? I really don't care for this movie. I'm not going to sit here and hammer it like in a full spoiler discussion, but I am going to talk about some things that I have an issue with big time. So it might be the same. We'll see. So there's this guy, and he's a pranker. He's like a YouTube pranker, and he has a fiance who's like the love of his life, and she wants to give birth. She wants to get pregnant. They're trying, and they're having a hard time, so they're taking drugs to try to help them. And she makes him promise, like, hey, you're not allowed to prank me anymore. But this is like their livelihood and their career, and this sparks a big problem between them. But then someone that they've known from the past invites them to their home, or to their house, which is a church. They agree to come out for a few days, I want to say. I think that's how long they were going to stay. And when they get there, their friend isn't there. But is there like a fucking storm coming? Jesus Christ, I feel like Sarah Connor at the end of Terminator right now. But anyway, they are going to go to this church. Or as I said, they get to this church, and their friend isn't there, but their friend's boyfriend is there, and so he shows them around, and strange occurrences start happening. I will say they take drugs, and that's actually one of my many gripes with the film. She's so fucking concerned about him startling her, because any kind of stress at all is too much, because the doctor straight up says, like, you can't be stressed, you can't do this and that. And she's like, you have to promise me. You have to promise me you're not going to do this, because I want to have a baby, this and that. They go to this fucking house, like, the next day. And what do? She gets hammered drunk. And then this guy gives them drugs. They have no fucking clue what it is at all. Could be literally anything. And they drink it. And they're like totally tripping out. It's all going crazy. And I'm sitting there like, you desperately want to get pregnant. You can't be scared because it might make you, too stressed out or whatever to be able to have the medicine work. But you're going to drink tons of alcohol and take drugs? Like, that right there, I was like, this makes no sense. Now, that's possible. That definitely happens. People are fucking hypocrites. People are, people do that kind of shit. But it just made me, I think at that point, I was already in the movie to the point where I was like, ooh, I'm not really liking this, because I hated the characters. I hated the characters. I hated the couple. I could not like either of them at all. Not at all. Same thing. Pretty much every single word out of my mouth right now is going to be mirrored to my girlfriend's sentiments on it as well. We talked about it for like an hour after, and we were both just like, yes, 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 to everything we had to say about it. So this is from two perspectives, actually. But regardless, the couple, oh my God, they were dreadful to me. Like, it's like one of those couples that you're around or you hear of or you watch in a movie and you're like, just fucking break up. Oh my God, you're awful. I can't stand couples like this. So I couldn't relate to the couples. I couldn't like them. She was extremely stuck up. She was like talking shit behind people's backs. She was awful. He was just a dreadful boyfriend, constantly mocking her and not really caring what she really wanted and really only giving a shit about fame and his channel. And oh my God, I wanted both of them to die. I was just like, please. Then the other problem with the movie is that there's like two things going on here and they just don't blend to me. There's a supernatural thing and more of like a stalker killer thing going on here, and they just do not mesh together. Because when the supernatural thing's happening, no one seems to be all that miffed by it. And there is a good amount of people that would be, let's say, as I said, I'm trying not to get spoilers here too much. Although I guess I'm treading that fine line of spoilers or not. But let's just say there should be some people that are like blown away by this, and they're not at all. Nobody is. Nobody seems to be miffed by the supernatural stuff going on here, and it's very clearly going on here. And the supernatural stuff itself, I just didn't connect with. It didn't land for me. I see what the purpose, and Alex was, we talked about it after, and he was like, oh, didn't you understand what that was, and this and that? And I was like, honestly, no. And he explained it to me, and I still didn't care. It was still kind of like, I was too checked out of the movie. Even if it makes sense to a degree, I still didn't feel like it worked. And then there's a scene where they leave, and then they have to go back for the dumbest reason imaginable. I was like, really? You're going back for that? Risking your life potentially for that? Why? Really? You're expecting me to believe that? Horribly unlikable characters. Terrible decision making. Two plot lines that just don't fucking mesh together for me. Questionable things all around. Let's just say that. So, yeah, all right, I'm done. No, this one didn't work for me. I did think there was cool things about it. Let's get that straight. I thought the makeup on the monster or whatever was really cool and very well done. A lot of like gore, practical effects stuff here, because one of the characters is like a practical effects makeup artist, and so they see a bunch of stuff inside the house that's like his work. Really cool stuff. The film's shot fairly well. The mask that the killer wears. I'm sorry. He's the beard and the face and everything. Fucking awesome. Fantastic looking. So a lot of the practicals and props and all that stuff I thought looked great, and I really love that stuff. And I'm not going to say that the people, because I want to make sure I differentiate between the two. Because I hate the characters doesn't mean I hate the performances. Those are two separate things to me. The performances are fine. They're good. The girl, actually, is quite good. When she's stressed out and she gives her dramatic performances, and I thought that was actually pretty great. She's good. It's not that. I think her range and her acting ability is fine. But it's the way it's written. It's the way that it's delivered. It's the story. It's those things that, they don't have the control of. So no knock on the actors or anything. That's not the problem for me, and obviously my girlfriend as well. I haven't talked to anybody else about this besides Alex. So if you did enjoy the fuck out of this movie, go check out Beyond the Void Horror Podcast or his Beyond the Void reviews that he does on YouTube, and you'll line up more with him because he loved this. He was raving about it. So if you're like shaking your head and you're like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, I love this, or you're somebody who's involved with the film and you're like, you can go to him and you can get that love and praise that you want, and that's fine. But me personally, this one just didn't work for me like at all. I really didn't like this movie at all. But I supported it. I rented it. That's it. Anyways, thank you to Alex, anyways, for turning me on to this. I was going to watch it regardless. I saw the poster, and I thought it was a really cool poster. But, yeah, it's a no for me. Anyways, adios.